Hey guys, we've got the Rabs man back this week.
The Rabinator, I'm back.
Yeah, we've brought him back for the finals, talk some footy. How you been, bro?
Oh, mate, busy. Life gets busy, and especially in this time, you got to look after yourself. So there's not been as much footy watching as I'd like to live, but I've got a round of sort of, because I do footy for work as well, whatever games I work on, I keep up to date somehow, but there's just so much going on. What about yourself? How you been?
Bro, been good. Haven't been watching much footy myself, but how good are the Penny Panthers going?
Oh, mate, it's still like, pinch me. Go on, pinch me. It's a dream. But, with each game, I'm sitting there, I'm like, we have to lose eventually, right? Heading into the finals, all these tough games. I don't want to be like teams gone by. I was talking about it with my boss today. 2009 Dragons, before they won the comp, they minor premiers and then bounced out in back-to-back weeks. The last time that's happened. So I'm just sitting there thinking, God, we've got a tough game on Friday night against the Roosters. I just don't want that to happen. Like, all the nerves are just sort of settling in. Friday night when it comes to 7:50, whenever kick off is, just going to be nerves for 80 minutes straight. And then hopefully when we get the win, I'm just going to be like, but then if we lose, obviously we've got a game next week.
Do you think it's a good thing versing the Roosters after they got pumped?
No. I said I feel sorry for whoever is playing the Roosters, and that ends up being us. With all the results, the way that they went, I'm thinking, oh, please play Canberra, please play. But no, we end up playing the Roosters. But again, like, it's finals footy. No game's meant to be easy. So if you want to go out and, all the word is, the Roosters are going to come back strong. Panthers and minor premiers are going to have to go out there. They've got to establish everything that they've done throughout the regular season and hopefully come away with it.
I guess it's a good thing to lose in the first round as well. Give them a bit of a reality check and be like,
Yeah, but again, like, I can't remember the last time a team lost week one and then went on to win the grand final.
Okay.
The last time I remember even a team losing and then making it through to the grand final was maybe the Bulldogs in 2014. I'm not too sure, but I remember in 2008 the Storm lost to the Warriors in that awesome game, 15-12, Michael Witt scoring. Made it all the way through the grand final, beat the Broncos in the prelim, and then Cameron Smith was out, chicken wing tackle, and they got pumped 40-0. So let's hope that doesn't happen to us. Let's just win tomorrow night, focus on this week, have the week off, and then, just look forward to it.
Can Penrith and Roosters play in the grand final?
Yeah, so if we beat the Roosters would then have to go on. I think that whoever loses this game plays the winner of the Raiders and the Sharks.
Yeah, because they go to the other side of the draw.
Yeah, and then it would be probably, the winner out of the Eels, and you would have to think the Rabbitohs, and then get through that way.
I'm thinking Panthers and Roosters will be in the grand final.
You think?
I'm thinking so, yeah.
Well, again, last time that happened, 2013, I want to say Manly versus Roosters played probably the best defensive, low-scoring final I've ever seen, 4-0. You would think, 4-0, it's pretty boring. Tuivasa-Sheck scored in the first 4 minutes, and it was just 76 minutes of end-to-end stuff. The attack was insane, but the defense was equally insane. I think you got two teams in the Panthers and the Roosters who are both, I think, pretty much first and second in points scored and points defended. So you don't really know what you're going to get. Are we going to see a high-scoring affair like we've seen in these really, like, you've got Eels and the Storm or Storm and the Roosters, these really high-scoring, high-paced games, or are we going to see a defensive game?
Yeah. That door always opens by itself.
You think someone's coming in and no, it's just the wind.
How unlucky were the Titans? Bro, they were playing some good footy.
I wouldn't say. Look, it's interesting you say that, because Justin Holbrook comes over from the Super League. No one really knows all too much about him. I can't even remember where he was from beforehand.
St Helens, wasn't he?
Oh, so, but beforehand, he might have been Roosters, at the Roosters or like under 20 Cowboys or something like that. But he come over from the Super League, and Super League, I think, cops unfair criticism. But he comes over, and I'm like, look, it's not going to be a 1 year fix. It's going to be, and you can see with the signings that he's made for next year. For Asua Maliui, who else they got? David Fafita. Just these big name signings. You can see that he's wanting to turn the club around. And I think even if they didn't make the 8 like they did this season, they missed out just. You can see the team's building to something.
Yeah.
So I think Titans fans and rugby league fans in general, for some reason, I don't know why, but Titans have always been sort of, last couple of years, my second team to watch. Just there's young kids on the rise coming through, Fodawaker, Ash Taylor, when he's actually in form and playing well, like played much better this season. And he's actually, I think he said that he's going to take a pay cut because he knows that there's something special going on with the signings and the young talent, AJ Brimson, all these guys they got coming
how
through.
How good is he, AJ
Man,
Brimson?
like, I was speaking to a mate and, honestly, when he come back, you're like, a long layoff. Is he going to be what the Titans need in the last couple of weeks? Is it even worth risking him because you're not really going to make the playoffs? It comes out, and I'd say arguably he was the best fullback form-wise in the last 4 weeks of the competition. You probably have to put Dylan Edwards and Corey Allen up there as well. I'm not saying they're better fullbacks than Teddy, Pappenhausen, but form-wise, those guys were unbelievable. Edwards averaging close to 300 metres a week. Corey Allen, the damage he was doing with Walker and Reynolds of the Rabbitohs as well. But Brimson, man, to come off such a long layoff to just come in and carve teams up, honestly. Like, the first week it was a bit quiet, but just, try assists and length of the field tries. And, man, if he has a really good preseason, people are like, I don't know if he's going to be a fullback because he played a lot of halves, 5'8" in the under-20s, but he looks the goods at fullback.
Well, I think he's already picked in that Origin squad.
Yeah. Kevin Walters called him up. He's like, mate, make sure you've got no plans in November, no pre-ordering PS5 or Xbox. You're playing Origin, mate. I'm going to have you in there somewhere. And, there's a lot of lack of stars or people that are in form for the Queensland side. So to come in last 4 or 5 weeks and really do what he did, like, how can you not pick him?
Do you reckon the NRL should bring in, like the NFL have, where is it, the
Pro Bowl?
Not the Pro Bowl, where the teams that finish outside the 8 have a chance to make the 8?
Well, they're talking about a wild card weekend.
Yeah, that's it, wild card.
I said it like, I'm sitting there going, the Sharks, like, they've been good in attack, but they're really not, I don't think they're a finals caliber team. And then you got a team like the Tigers, who again fell short.
Always disappointing.
They didn't finish in 9th. Maybe that's why they lost on the weekend. But you got the Tigers and the Titans, and again, last 6 weeks they've been much better watching than the Sharks have. But I think this competition's way too small to have something like a wildcard weekend. If anything, I think there should be less teams in the finals. Maybe a final 5 like they do in Queensland Cup. And when I played, when I was growing up, that's what I was playing. Team 1 deservedly gets the week off, while team 2 and 3, two plays 5 and 3 plays 4, and then it's just one team gets eliminated after the other. But then you've got team 1 constantly having breaks if they're the right team. So maybe it's a final 4 or a final 6, or they'll figure something out. At the moment, a top 8, I think that's fine until they figure something out. But the only way a wildcard weekend would work is if there were more teams, and we've got the new Brisbane team that's potentially coming on.
Dolphins. Yeah, but they're not going to be Dolphins.
Yeah,
something else.
Oh, okay, so they're going to rebrand?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I thought they would keep their name, but...
Yeah, well, they saved up a bunch of money and said, here you go, NRL, we've got $100 million.
And they've got a strong leagues club behind them and everything.
Yeah, that's it. You have someone like Petro Simnasiva that was there for years. Like, he'll probably be running the joint. And, it's good for rugby league for new teams to sort of come into the forefront.
So, let's go into the games. Who do you think's going to win out of the Panthers and Roosters?
My heart obviously says the Panthers, but there's just something in the back of my mind that's been bugging me all week. I just don't see... And there was people saying, the Roosters threw that game because they wanted to... There's no way that Trent Robertson, a coach that's won minor premierships, going for a three-peat, is going to throw a game. I'm sorry. If you watch the last 20 minutes... watch the first 15 minutes, the Roosters were fantastic. It looks like it was going to be 50-0 the other way. And then the Rabbitohs come through. And people seem to forget, Wayne Bennett's old, but he's also one of the greatest coaches to ever coach. You got him, Craig Bellamy. I'm trying to think of the guy in like the 60s. I can't. Someone's going to make fun of me. And probably Trent Robinson, you lump him in there as well. But people seem to forget that Wayne Bennett's one of the best coaches of all time. Schematically, in the last 20 minutes, the way they just picked apart that right-hand side defence, Orbison playing centre, God love him, but he's a back row by trade, playing in the centres, doing his absolute best. And then Ikevalu, who's still, although he's 25, 26, still a bit inexperienced, really good offensively, but defensively maybe a bit of a liability. That formation of Walker straight out to Johnston and Reynolds and Allen, and I've been picking on Souths all year. Their forward pack has been serviceable. It's not being the best pack in the comp, and when they came up against Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, I thought, well, this is actually pretty good. If they can at least put in this performance, then it's up to the rest of the team to sort of go with that. And even in that game against the Roosters, I didn't think that they were fantastic, but when you've got Walker and Reynolds, who, I mean, I hate that they say it in commentary all the time, but probably both in career best form. The way that they combine... You know, you're talking about best halves in the comp at the moment. People are saying Cleary and Luai, and I'm sitting like, have you been watching South? Because I have, and Walker and Reynolds, honestly, if you take those two out, like if you take Luai and Cleary out of the Panthers, you have Burton and whoever. Yeah, we struggle, but I think South struggles so much more without, at least without Walker. Or Reynolds are one of them. They're the reason that they're where they are at the moment, and they're so informed. Everyone's just listening to those two guys, and I think it'd be so funny if South's going to win the comp. One, because I said they were going to be awful in bottom four this year, but secondly, Latrell goes out, everyone's like, oh no, what are we going to do? And I'm not saying Corey Allen's a good fullback. He's really informed.
He's been playing. He's
come a long way, but Walker and Reynolds, man, with Latrell out, Walker has been playing 5'8" and fullback. It's given him free reign to do whatever he wants, and he is he's like 30 or 31, and he's showing up all these young kids like, I'm the best, I'm untouchable. And, you know, I don't want to compare him to JT, but when JT was on a roll for the Cowboys, feeding those short balls to Cooper and doing what he was doing, maybe not the same sort of kicking game, but honestly, man, Walker running the ball, I spoke about that left-hand side, that thing with Johnston. He'd just hold the ball, cut out or a short pass to the centre, catch pass. And just to be able to hold that ball and make Orbison, who's a pretty smart defender at times, come in and be like, okay, I've got to absolutely come in, and then it just forces Ikevalu to play off, you know, a 2-on-1 situation. That's really good footy, man. He's only been in the league since, 2015, and I'm just baffled that he didn't get picked up sooner by anyone. Played East Tigers for so long before... he was actually, he came through the Storm system and then came into Rabbitohs. How was he picked up at 25, 26? You know, I think he's been pretty good for South for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Poor Kyle Felt went to sleep thinking he was top try scorer.
Oh, he's probably having some 4x goal. He's kicking his feet up. He's like, oh, yep, top try scorer. And then here comes Alex Johnson with a fifer. I'm spewing that game wasn't at the SCG. I could just imagine, you know, the commentary in me, the commentary in Bossy, Alex Johnston, a fiver at the SC. Like, it just writes itself, stuff like that. And then I was thinking, do I put a cheeky bet on North Loom to get 4? I'm like, no, go against it. But yeah, Johnston, insane.
All right, we got Canberra and Sharks. I'm tipping Canberra.
Oh, you would think so. Even if the Sharks were at full strength, I think I did like where offensively each team was and each defensively, and although points are obviously important in winning, it's defence.
Defence wins games.
The Sharks, I think they ranked about 5th offensively but 14th defensively, which is obviously the weakest amongst the team in the finals. I much prefer watching Canberra what they were a couple of years ago in 2017 with like Parner and all these attacking weapons. But I think they're a much better team now, defensively at least. Like they can still score points, maybe not as potent offensively as they were, but defensively, like if the Sharks just keep rolling up, trying to attack the line, and this is without Sean Johnson, mind you, as well, so they're definitely going to struggle. The Raiders are just going to repel them. You know, George Williams, who he's been in pretty good form.
He's had a great season.
I mean, you know, again, people coming over from the Super League. And outside, I know he's not like an out-and-out outside back, but he was really the first half-back in the modern era of Super League to come over and apply his trade in the NRL. And honestly, I think you can't really fault him. He's had a really good season. His try assists are right up there with Jack Whiten's. That's exactly what you want. But yeah, I think the Raiders are going to be too strong for them. And you've got Wade Graham, who's coming back into the 6 jersey, hasn't played 6 since last week, but before that, you know, a couple of years ago. And before he was injured, he was actually leading the missed tackles for not only the club, but for the league as well.
Really?
So if I'm Canberra, I'm running straight away Graham all night. Whoever's on that,
Get big puppy at him.
Oh mate, yeah. Puppy, you're playing back row for some reason, but just run it straight away Graham all night. But yeah, I think they beat the Sharks with not even a reserve. It was a Ron Massey team out there last week. So yeah, I think the Raiders might actually put a score up on the Sharks.
Yeah, easy. I 100% reckon that too. I reckon Melbourne's going to be a tough game.
Para weird. I don't think they'll make it through to the grand final, but it's been such a decline. Like, in the first 8 weeks of the comp, you thought, this pack is scary. And even still, like, Paulo, I think, has been in the top 5 forwards in the comp.
What about Guffo last week? He just wanted to kick every time he got the fucking ball.
Yeah, it must have been a game plan or, like, something that he just had to kick. It was so weird. I called that game, and I'm thinking, why are you kicking? It's like second, third tackle.
It came off once.
Yeah, he's kicking a Sevo, he's kicking like chip kicks, scrubber kicks, all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, just run the ball. I think Gutherson's best asset is his running game, you know, when he runs for over 200, 250 metres a game. And, like, his effort's been there all season. Like, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. Paraloos, Gutho, he's a shit captain or something like that. But man, he works hard. Like,
wears his heart on his sleeve, that guy.
Yeah, that like him and Tuivasa-Sheck, man. For a team that didn't make the the Warriors. Just quickly, the Warriors, their season to me, I don't care if they're not making it. That's a success to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got players that opted out late in the season for Satua Mamalo. They want to go home to their families.
That's fair.
I get it's professional sport, but in terms of the world, NRL, how can you look at the NRL as a professional sport in terms of soccer, NFL, like the big money sports?
Yeah.
There's no money in this game. They're normally going home to their families every weekend. They're not used to that, man.
Yeah.
Like, the Warriors should be commended. The coaching staff, the players, everyone in amongst the Warriors group for sticking it out in Australia for the 4 or 5 months that they were out here. And to end up where they did, I think they finished 10th in the end. Tuivasa-Sheck, man, I think he led the most amount of metres this season as well.
Yeah.
And played a couple of less games than everyone. So full credit to the Warriors, man. But
I would have much preferred to see the Warriors and Titans in the top 8.
Yeah, Warriors, Tigers, Titans, any one of those over the Sharks. But yeah, back to Gutho, like, he and Tuivasa-Sheck both, like, he's the guy to lead that club.
Yeah.
Wears his heart on his sleeve. He's always turning up for the boys. Last week it was a bit weird, him throwing these kicks in. They get Dylan Brown this week as well. They get him back. Yeah. So it's odd. Like, we spoke about the Panthers Roosters game earlier. Like, what's it going to be like for these guys that have had a few weeks rest? Are they going to be refreshed and ready to go? Or are they going to be underdone because there's no games to... like, we've seen it throughout the year, but this is finals atmosphere.
Yeah, it's
like,
totally different ball.
We saw Sonny Bill come back a couple of weeks ago. He's sort of up to fitness now. He's played in 40, 50 minutes, but he still doesn't look fantastic. Granted, he's 35. But, yeah, like Dylan Brown, what's going to happen? He comes back in. He hasn't played for a few weeks. He had a pretty half-serious injury. He's going to come in. I guarantee you they're going to go straight at the legs. Yeah. Just fifth tackle. If he's putting the key, like... This is Moses' game. Moses and Marnie. And Marnie had a couple of weeks out as well. And we had Ray Stone play 9 there for a bit. Like Marnie...
He's a good little player.
He'll
be in Origin, I reckon.
Oh, like, you would think so. Yeah. I think they might, maybe... They're hanging on to hope that Cameron Smith's going to play one last time, which... I mean, I don't know why he would. I don't know
I heard
why
they were going to try and bring Greg Lewis out as well.
Oh, well, he's in Warrington, mate.
Yeah.
But I think Marnie's been an unsung hero. Like, he plays a bit like Cameron Smith too. Him and Damien Cook, like, they find themselves the first receiver a lot. It's really uncanny, the likeness between Marnie and Cameron Smith. Like, they're kicking games out of dummy half, they're passing at first receiver, stuff like that. He's always wanting his hands on the ball. And defensively, man, he gets through like 60 tackles a game, barely misses. So I think if Para to have a good game, like, obviously their forward pack's got to dominate Melbourne, and that's not going to be any easy feat. But yeah, Marnie, for me, it's the spine. Marnie, Moses, Dylan Brown, they've got to keep him out of harm's way, and then Gutho obviously at the back. But it's going to be a full team effort. I'm going to go Melbourne.
You can't underestimate Melbourne, bro.
Yeah, they've been so good for so long, and they've got the proven track record in finals as well. I think this decline from the Eels, I think the Eels might even bounce out in straight weeks if they have to play the Rabbitohs.
Didn't they do that last year as well, or was that the year before that they?
Yeah, it was 2017. So they lost to the Storm, that awesome game. It was like a forward pass, and everyone was annoyed. And then I'm like, oh well, they got a chance against the Cowboys, and then Michael Morgan went on that crazy finals run, went into the grand final. I mean, Melbourne were going to win anyway. But yeah, I think they'll bounce out. I think Storm will win, not comfortably. It'll be a good game, hopefully. I just hope Parra turn up.
You would hope so. Fucking hell. And then I reckon Rabbitohs are going to beat Knights. Knights have been declining. They've lost players.
Well, see, this is what I don't understand, right? So you had Canberra had a chance to make the top four. They won, so they did what they were meant to. They had a chance to make the top four. Knights had a chance for a home final in Newcastle, and they're like, oh, we're just going to rest some players. And I think they brought some players back. Who they play last week? I can't even remember who they played last week.
Raiders had like a reserve grade squad out.
It wasn't even reserve. Yeah, it was like Brian Massey, Sydney Shield stuff. Like I'm looking at the team list. I'm like, damn, Cook. Who's that? I didn't even know like five of the players. When I don't know who the players are, you know something's going on. But yeah, the Knights. I'm like, why would you not play for a finals match at Newcastle? And like they get a decent crowd in. It's a real home fortress. I mean, it'd make it a bit easier, but yeah, I think we spoke about it before, man. Like the Rabbitohs are in super good form, and I don't want to add them to that top. You got the Roosters, the Panthers, the Storm, and I'm going to lump the Rabbitohs. Rabbitohs have been much more impressive than Parramatta has been over the last 6 weeks. Again, they're in super form. I think leading into next year, you got Jai Arrow coming in. I don't know if they've got any outside backs that they're signing, but you get Latrell Mitchell back. That's going to be a blessing for them. But yeah, I think their brand of football has just been really attractive to watch. And some young stars. So start of the season, I thought, Souths, they're going to be not bottom four, but like they won't make the 8. I think 11th or 12th, I had them and the Sharks.
Yeah.
And then I said that, everyone's like, I have him in the 4 and the 8. I'm like, how? Like, Bennett's a good coach, but just their forward pack, you can't lose Sam Burgess, George Burgess, John Sutton, and get better. That was my my thing. And people agreed with me, but they're like, I think. So, John Sutton's the blue shirt. Sam Burgess then turns into an assistant coach. So, they don't really go far. And then George Burgess obviously goes to the Wigan Warriors. And then they stumble across Keon Koloamatangi, and they get Hame Saleh from Penrith. They get Bailey Siren. They just get these unproven guys that haven't really played a lot of first grade. Some have played none. And they've turned him into first grade. Jed Cartwright, another one that I was waiting for to debut for Penrith for ages. And again, like they're not a fantastic forward pack, but they
do their job.
They're getting the job done. Honestly, man, like, if Damien Cook was in the form he was last year in Origin and Cam Murray the same, I would speak so much more highly of the Rabbitohs. But I think, although everyone's sort of doing a job, it's been a lot of pressure on Cam Murray. Defensively, he's been fine. But yeah, like he's not Sam Burgess. He's not taken 2 hit-ups to set. Like he's not that sort of guy. If they can integrate him in some way, like in these ball-playing locks, like Jake Trbojevic is a good example.
Yeah.
He sort of takes the hit-ups, but he's got that short passing game as well. If Cam Murray could just take the ball to the line, cop a hit if need be, but just go to the line, pass, that'd open up a whole other dimension.
He'll develop it, though, over time. He's going to be a guy.
100%. You get him and Cook and Reynolds and what, like, man, if they were just all passing, and then you got that, then Latrell's like, sweet, I don't have to ball play. I don't, like, obviously there's catch passes out the back, but all the pressure comes off Latrell then. Then he can play his natural game.
And then Cook's more free too. Like, I feel like he hasn't been that free this year.
Yeah, and you would think with the new rules that were coming in, the set restarts, I'm like, here we go, Damien Cook's going to take over the league. And it hasn't happened the way that I thought it would. He's been good, don't get me wrong, he hasn't been bad, but I'm expecting, here we go, it's going to be 5 set restarts and Rabbitohs are going to tear up the league. Damien Cook's going to get Dally M and all this sort of stuff. Who knows, maybe we see it in the finals. Maybe the Knights come to town and he's like, all right, boys, I just feel like running 200 metres and I'm just going to carve you up. But yeah, like even like Mark Nichols, just like these oh, okay, so he's a first grader? Not like no disrespect to them at all. They've worked hard. They've got there. They've got the games under their belt. But you compare them to some of the talent that other teams might have, and I just think Souths have been really impressive. And there's always that one team that proves me wrong.
Yeah.
I had my 16 teams that I put through at the start of the year. I had Manly in the top 4. I thought Manly were going to be a real premiership threat. They lose Manasi Fainu.
Yeah.
They have a few injuries. Tom Turbo goes out, and then it all really goes to shit. And look. Injuries, everyone has them. The whole team, the whole comp had them. Melbourne had them. The Roosters had them.
They got hit hard though.
But yeah, Manly, they were scrambling to find players, man. And it happened for Penrith for the last 5 years. It still happened to us this year, but on a much lesser scale. But the Rabbitohs, all these players that they're sort of developing, and they've got to continue, like the Sharks did last year. I think one of the reasons they made the 8 is their first year players like Hamlin Uele got better. And then these rookie players coming in that we really didn't see much of, Teague Wilton, Toby Rudolph, come in, first graders, bang, they've elevated their game instantly. It's just about your young players coming in, doing a job, and then if the Rabbitohs, fall out of the finals week 2 or week 3, it's like, okay, how do we get better? We need to elevate these rookie guys and they need to make that next step. Yeah. And then if they're not, then, okay, what are we doing? Are we interested in keeping him or does he need to go elsewhere? But Wayne Bennett's done a superb job. And for me to say, I really dislike watching the Rabbitohs to, like, they're probably up there with the Titans and obviously the Panthers in teams I love watching at the moment.
Yeah. Do you remember your prediction for the grand final?
Newcastle Parramatta. I remember it like it was yesterday. So it doesn't look like we're getting that. I did say, however, I would not be surprised if we see another Roosters Storm grand final. I didn't have Penrith anywhere near the grand final, but I said Newcastle Parramatta. We might still somehow get that.
Who knows?
Probably not. I still think, as much as I'm like, I hope Penrith make it to the grand final, I still think the Roosters and the Storm are the two benchmark teams.
Do you think Panthers can go all the way, or are they too young?
They're not too young, man. Like, same thing happened in 2003. People saying you're too young, you don't have it. We got young kids like Luke Rooney and Luke Lewis and Joe Nolivau and Tony Puletua. When I look at Tony Puletua, I look at James Fisher-Harris. Yeah. Different positions, but, young kid trying to lead this young forward pack. Isaiah Yeo, Scott Sadler, like, it's not a mirror team, but it's as close as you're going to get to the 2003 team.
Playing amazing.
Craig Gower, Nathan Cleary, very similar. Kicking in a touch, kicking in the space. Very, I don't want to call Cleary no frills, but as opposed to Luai and Campbell, like, they're very, very similar teams. And how fitting that we play the Roosters, and you're saying that we want to play the Roosters in the grand final 17 years down the track.
Meant to be.
Could happen. I said a couple of years ago when we played him in the finals of the Nines, I'm like, so what was it? We played the Roosters in, I want to say 2014 NYC or 2015 in the grand final. And then we played New South Wales Cup. We played Wyong, which was the feeder club of the Roosters. And then the following year after that, we played him in the grand final of the Auckland Nines. I'm like, one day there's going to be a grand final between the Penrith Panthers and the Roosters, and they're going to go through all these teams that we've seen, all the players come up. Yeah, players come and go. Yeah. But there's going to be a couple of players that are sort of, been through all those grand finals. Maybe not like directly related, but they're like, hey, there's been a feud building for, the last 5 years. I feel like there's always been this hidden feud between Penrith and the Roosters, just from that 2003 grand final. Every time I play the Roosters, I'm like, I want to beat this team.
The good thing about Panthers is they've all played together through the ranks. A lot of them too. Like
that's it. And we saw it firsthand. I'm so proud of Jerome and Fish and all those guys that they grew up playing together. And then even the younger ones like, Stephen Crichton, Spencer Lanu, they've all come up playing the 20s together. And I think that's really
that's helped them so much, I reckon.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you think about it, Maloney leaving last year. Who would have thought that Maloney leaving and Luai coming in would be us getting better? That's another thing. It's like Maloney, 250, 300 games experience. Like, how does he go and how do we get better as a team? But like you said, Luai and Cleary, I don't know if you remember, back in the FC 11 days, that game that we played against, you played against the second side of the Panthers. Yeah. So the starting halves, I think, with T-May and Sam Elwyn at the time, potentially. the backup team that you played,
Yeah.
you know who the halves combo was?
Jerome and
Cleary. I sat there, I'm like, oh, Nathan Cleary, okay. Jerome Broadbridge, I think it was.
That's his original
name.
last name, yeah.
And then Corey Waddell was in that
Waddell,
team.
yeah.
A few other players that have sort of bounced
I think
around
Edwards
in the lower
was in
grades.
that
Yeah,
too.
Dylan Edwards
Yeah.
as well. And then I can't remember if maybe Christian Crichton played for the FC11s. Do we have any guys that played?
I think Christian was there. Yeah.
I think they played for like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like crazy to think that, you know, those guys were just kids, like sort of unproven, trying to make them. I still, I don't want to say it. Hopefully, he doesn't say it. But I still remember like walking in every day into the kitchen, and you know, Fish is still like pretty small for a front rower, but like going in the kitchen every 2 hours, and I'm like, Fish, man, you're eating again. And they're just like, man, we want him to bulk up, we want him to put on size. But yeah, like all the players really. But I'm just so proud of the boys. You know, they got the minor premiership, and I really, really want to. It's been a long time coming. It feels like Jared Hay in 2014 when we won New South the Origin. It's been a long time.
Penrith are going to go crazy if they win the grand final.
Man.
It'll be a party.
Honestly, there'll be bloody double cheeseburgers flying out in zone bowling. There'll be everyone's going to want to be drinking at all the pubs. Everyone's going to be out the mood. Oh,
it's going to be great.
The town will be buzzing. I guarantee you that.
I can't wait, bro. I have a good feeling about Panthers.
I do too, but I also know... the thing is, I'm a Panthers fan, but I'm a football fan first. So all this doubt is not because I doubt the Panthers, it's because I'm a football fan that sort of hopes that he knows what he's talking about. So I see a team like the Roosters and Storm. It's not that I don't believe
they've just been there every year, and you know what you're going to get from them.
I'm just like, okay, we can beat the Roosters. We did it earlier this year, but it was in round one, and this is finals Roosters now. This is a Roosters team that has won two World Club challenges back to back. 2 premierships back to back. That doesn't happen every day of the week. And then even the Storm, they've been on the decline for the last couple of years, but they won a premiership in 2017. They've still got Craig Bellamy. They've still got Cameron Smith. You can't doubt that.
Yeah.
And you know, if you statistically compare us to those two teams, what do we got? But that's where the Cinderella story lies. You know, Ivan bringing the boy, you know, going away, coming back with his son, bringing a premiership to the Panthers. That's what it's all about. You know, there's a first for everything. Yeah. Hopefully this year's our year.
Well, I'm excited for this week, and I think I'm going to actually watch a lot of the games.
Oh, well, I got the day off tomorrow, so you can guarantee I'll be sitting there, I'll be watching the game, and if we get up, I'll have a cheeky one for the boys.
Yeah, nice. Well, hopefully we can come back next week and talk good things about the Panthers.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully, and if we lose, I'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was good chatting. Yeah. We'll keep this going for the finals, and we'll see what happens next year too.
Too easy. Till next time.
See you next week, guys.